Welcome to today's video. We are at the storage yard. As you can see, the weather is not that great, mainly just because of all the typhoons that are rolling in down south. But I'm just doing a quick check on the Z, making sure everything's all good here, and I've just had this thing idling for a while, making sure that the fuse or nothing's like triggering on it. It looks like it really was just that fuse. I still can't get over how lucky we were with this car. Keep an eye on the channel. We will be doing a bunch of work on this soon and getting this thing drift ready and ready for me to shred in. But that aside, I actually wanted to just try and see how the wide body kit that I got for the 32 is gonna like sit on this and just see like how bad it is. As you guys know, it wasn't in the best condition when it arrived to me, so I just wanna make sure it's gonna kind of line up okay on the chassis. Oh yeah, definitely a bit of surface rust under there, but it looks like it was done pretty well. It was riveted together, not welded. But that's fine. We'll end up cutting most of that out and sealing it up well anyways. Oh, wow. Yeah, all sealed up, but definitely water still got under here, and you can see the surface rust. Nothing through though, just surface. The rain's getting a bit heavier. But what I'm gonna do is just try and see what it looks like sitting on the car, if it will sit on the car with this here. But at least now I kind of have a idea of what I'm dealing with here. This will be pretty easy for the body guy to just, I think I just cut my finger. The body guy will be able to cut this out, weld it together, and seal it up proper with panel bond so that no rust will actually get in there. Unlike the previous guy who did this, should be pretty easy. Let's get that body kit out. One thing I love about having a van is you just flick up the back and then you have a roof and you're sheltered from the weather. It's usually one of my favorite things. Yeah, it looks like we did cut my finger a little bit there. Looks pretty bad. Luckily I got some cream and band-aids and stuff in there I'll quickly clean up. So this is kind of what we're gonna be dealing with here. Just kind of sitting this on here to get a gist and an idea. Okay, it lines up pretty well, to be honest. I'm actually not too upset about that. That doesn't look so bad. Yeah, that's gonna actually look pretty good. Once that's like all lined up and stuff, that's gonna look really good. Once the over fenders that are on there now get cut out, that'll look good. It's definitely gonna need touching up and blending in here, but that's what the body guy's for. I mean, it's raining, so I don't think the tape's gonna hold it on too well, but like all in all, Fitment, it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. So I think this will fit up pretty well. Yeah, this is gonna end up looking pretty good. Let me just put a couple pieces of tape on here, even though it's wet, just something to hold it on, and I'll get the door piece. Taking a quick moment to tell you about today's video sponsor, which is Dafsky. Dafsky sells air fresheners for your ride, and it doesn't matter what car you have, whether it's a D1 GP spec S15 or a K-van. Dafsky has you covered with an air freshener, particularly their new AC vent clip-on ones are amazing. And now this car doesn't smell like sweaty Japanese men, including myself, but smells beautiful. Dafsky has a bunch of different scents that I know you guys are gonna love. Like these new ones here, Frozen Tundra and Black Canyon, as well as I can't forget the one that I collaborated with them on, the Sakura Japanese scented one. Go ahead to dafsky.com right now and grab yourself an air freshener for your ride, and make sure you support the companies that support me. We would not be able to do the things that we're doing today without them. So go give them some love, guys, and let's get back to the video. And this should kind of just go on here. The tape's really not holding any of it on, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. I think that's going to end up looking pretty good. This is all sticking out really far right now because it's hitting the over fenders that are on the car right now, but I think it's going to turn out pretty good. We're going to need some trimming around the handle here and stuff. That's definitely not trimmed to the correct size, but overall, yeah, that's not too bad. That's a really nice kind of blend in. Yeah, I think that's gonna work out pretty good. There's definitely some waves and stuff to it, but that'll all get resolved. Not too bad. I like it. All right, we know what we're dealing with now. Good. It looks like everything's all good there. The main thing I just wanted to do was check if there's anything drastically crazy wrong with the kit, like fitment wise, if, you know, for some reason none of it actually lined up. It looks like it's relatively gonna be okay. Bunch of little work trimming and making it look good, and some filler here and there and some low spots, but looks like it's gonna work really, really well. The body guy will work his magic and I think we'll be good there. Gonna head to the shop now, give you guys a bit of an update on things there, and then we've got some other plans for the rest of today. Just got to the shop, guys, and Every time I look at this Skyline, man, I just get the feels. I wanna bring this girl back. We definitely got to figure something out with this thing soon. But what I actually wanted to do today was get the Evo engine mounted onto the engine stand so that I can start stripping this down and working on this and getting this thing rebuilt. So my goal is with this engine is to just pretty much do fully forged internals. I do want to make some pretty serious power in this thing eventually. The goal with the Evo, I've spoken about this a lot, is this thing, my plans are for it to be a time attack car. I think it's going to be really, really cool. Like, you know, bring it back from rallying, we've saved it, restored it, bring it into time attack and get more and more into grip with an all-wheel drive, you know, maybe 700, 800 horsepower Evo or something like that would be super, super cool. But obviously, first step first is we need to get this engine mounted up, and we are still waiting for the body guy to get back to me. One really good thing is I found out Mitsubishi is stocking a bunch of the parts that we need to replace on this, including the rear quarter panel. They do not make, though, it seems like they don't have any stock and no longer make this section here, which I think is going to need repairing, but we will see. It just, I think like on this corner where the quarter panel and the crash happened, it may be a little tweaked, but if the body guy thinks we need a new one, we may need to steal one from like a Mirage or something in the USA. It seems like you can still get those for some reason, and supposedly they're the same. So we'll figure something out, but majorly it looks like a lot of the parts that I need and want are available, including even like full this piece. If I need to replace this entire piece here, we can strut everything, but struts are fine and stuff. I'm just more worried about you know, like some of these places in here where the cracks develop, which is a very common issue on all the Evos 6s and 5s and 4s, where this kind of gets really weak, which is why you get the aftermarket brace that goes in here. Anyways, enough talk about that. What I want to do, like I said, let's get this thing mounted onto the engine stand. We've got my bolts and everything we need, so let's do that. As you guys can see, we now got the Evo engine on the stand. Makes things a lot more organized and easy to move around, which is awesome. Can't wait to jump into that thing, but obviously first goal is to really get the Evo at the body shop and all that work getting done, which I'm just waiting for the guy to tell me when he's ready to take it and he's got the room and the space, and we're in the queue. We're just waiting for that. But otherwise, I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleaning up and then we'll be back on the road and to our next destination. Just arrived to Yashio Factory, S15 looking stout there. Just not much more time now and then this thing will be driving actually very, very soon, hopefully. I'm gonna do some work on it today. But we gotta explain what's going on. So we have a competition tomorrow at Nikko Circuit. Okachan's gonna be driving Sangolki, this car here, which is like a D1 spec car. And then I'm gonna be driving, well, the new and improved Lesson car. It's pretty much just because my car's not ready and I didn't want to bring the Chaser. So we're gonna use the Lesson car. Okachan has graciously let me rent this one off him for some meat, for some steak. I'm not even kidding. We got to get this guy some Kobe Wagyu beef and he said I can use this. That's the rental fee. But that aside, we're just getting the alignment all dialed in. I'm going to be running some super gripped up tires. We're going to have some spare ones for the wet as well, just because the typhoon's rolling in. It's most likely going to be a wet day. We've changed the angle kit in both of Okachan's car to be pretty much identical to how I had my angle kit set up. He really liked how my car felt, so we made a bunch of changes to these two cars to suit that. But yeah, I'm going to be driving this thing. It's super rigid chassis. Everything's been stitch welded, and I'm pretty excited to be driving an S chassis again for a drift competition. The competition is actually Drift Victory. You guys probably will remember that competition because that's the one that I messed up in the rules and kind of just, I flopped and missed out on battles because I just didn't understand how the competition rules went. So hopefully this time we can go back, do really, really well in a car that's not mine, and we're hoping it's going to be set up as close as possible, but the seat, the steering wheel is definitely not going to be in the ideal position, but I'm going to do my best anyways, and I'm sure we're going to do pretty well. Hopefully we get to tandems, and hopefully we place better than Okachan, but don't tell him that. So while the guys are dialing in the alignment, I'm going to be doing all the tire changing for tomorrow. Make sure we all got some fresh rubber. Let's get to it. Now that I'm finished with all the tire changing and getting things prepped and ready for those cars, I'm gonna get into my S15 here. Now, the night that we got this thing running, I did notice that there was a pretty significant coolant leak, unfortunately, under the intake manifold, which is probably the worst place possible. So I've gone and filled up the radiator again, and I'm gonna try and investigate where this leak is coming from, and hoping it's not gonna involve me having to remove the whole intake manifold just to fix. It's probably gonna really suck, but these things happen with any kind of new build. So I'm also trying to stay positive about it. I found the leak, and I had to use the iPhone to get a good look at it, because I could just see like water dripping down from there. But I'm gonna try and show you with the iPhone video that I got here, and it really shows it well. Okay, here we go, pause. This little bung here, it's like an Allen key bung, is leaking coolant. I don't understand why it's loose. I never touched it. I guess it's just leaking because maybe like when the block went to the machinist or something, maybe he loosened it and never tightened it and sealed it, but it looks like there's sealant around it, so I don't know. But it's in probably the worst position possible. You can kind of see, like looking at this, it is behind this heater core pipe. I think I can get to it. I might just have to take off this heater core pipe and then we should be okay. But still, there is not much space down there. I think for me to get easy access to it, I might have to remove, take the fuel pressure regulator just off and sit it down there so I have a bit more space to work with. But it's definitely not in the nicest place. We do have a couple blocks over here and I can show you guys what I'm talking about. But like, I never touched this, so it's kind of a shock to me that that was loose. Here's a block. So you can see here, we'll just move a few boxes out of the way. It's this little guy right here. So that's leaking water, which is like kind of the port that you flush, I guess, when you machine it, but I had no idea to check that. So I'm gonna try and fix it now, get a little Allen key wrench with a wobble joint and see if we can get in there without removing any hoses and hope for the best. So some good news, I was able to get my hand in there with a wobble joint and adjustable wrench and tighten that thing. My hands are definitely very sore and red from just scraping on the bottom of the intake manifold, but we got it and that's all that matters. So now we're gonna fill this thing up, pressurize it a little bit and see if we got that leak again. If we don't, then I'm gonna run my map line and stuff like that. I got a few more settings to do in the ECU, set up the injectors properly and stuff like that so we can get this thing running, make sure that's all good. I'm gonna drain the oil, put a fresh bunch of oil in there because when we were trying to start this thing, a whole bunch of fuel was dumping out of the injectors and I do not wanna wash out my bearings so early in this engine's life. So just a really good idea to switch out your oil right away if you ever have that issue, because there will be fuel like mixed in with that oil and that's just not a good thing. So I finished setting up the injectors and the dwell timing and got this thing running pretty good. I don't have a wideband sensor hooked up to this yet. That's gonna be probably the next day's work, and get all the other sensors wired in. But right now it's idling pretty good. I do have a bit of noise coming from my tensioner, I think. So I'll need to look into that, maybe get a new tensioner or something for the aircon compressor, because that's just a little bit loud. But that could also just like, you know, clean itself out. It could just be a bit of water that's gotten in there and a bit of surface rust and stuff. But otherwise the car's idling really good, bringing it up to temperature, bleeding all the bubbles and the air out of it coolant wise. The only thing that's kind of annoying is this IAC is so loud. I've got that tube on there at the moment and just stuffed it down there for now. But I do have some fittings coming to make a nice AN line that we're going to weld into the intake pipe, and then that you won't even hear it. But otherwise, idling and running pretty smooth. Pretty happy with this thing. I know you guys really want to hear the turbo on this thing, so little. So responsive, I'm actually scared. This thing's gonna be a monster. Close the hood on the S15. I didn't end up doing an oil change. Okachan has this little oil tester here and we just tested a little bit of oil off the dipstick and it turned out that there really wasn't that much gas in the oil. So we brought it up to temperature, and then the next thing, now that the engine's been at full temperature now, is now we're gonna change the oil, and we'll do that next time that I'm here, because then we're gonna be doing the piping and sorting out all the sensors and getting everything running really, really good and pretty much ready for this thing to drive. Just doing a bit more work on Okachan's car for tomorrow, fixing a little coolant leak for him. But I spotted this here and it's got me excited. Got a Sylvia subframe and an RB mounted up to it. It'd be interesting to see which customer's car this This is for, oh, shout out to my guys in Australia. We got a spool head drain. Interesting. Huh. There you go. That's so cool. RVs, man. We got 2 here now. We got the GTR out the front, now an RV ready to go into a Sylvia. I'm excited to drive this tomorrow. Hopefully things go well. It's so clean in this car now. It's crazy to believe that this was a lesson car and all of this was crashed before. Looking good. Decided to do the big brain move tonight and get myself a hotel room close to Yashio, because I got to be at Yashio to drive the loader truck to Nikko Circuit at 5:30 in the morning. So we're waking up at 5 tomorrow. We got a nice hotel here. We're going to edit tonight's video in this room. Should be pretty fun. The smallest hotel room you guys have probably ever seen. It's actually kind of crazy. Japan hotels, like, I don't know, you get used to them after a while, but the bathrooms always crack me up because they're just one big plastic sealed room with everything combined. Kind of gross when you think about it, but it's also cool. That's that. All in all, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Just with Obon week right now, it is like summer vacation here and everyone takes off time everywhere. All these companies are closed, like Nissan parts are closed like for an entire week. It's actually a little bit longer, but same. Anyways, it's just affected all my plans that I had coming back from Ebisu. Luckily, we still had some content to kind of like keep us going, but now I'm no longer ahead. All my content that I was ahead on and I felt so good about is all gone because of Obon week. But it's okay. I mean, the whole tradition in Japan is like people go and visit their families and spend time with them. So that's fine. It just meant that all my car builds and parts and rental stuff that I've been trying to organize so that we could work on some cars and make some sick content all got postponed by a week. So it's all good. We're going to be driving tomorrow, drifting an S15, one of Okachan's ones, and competing at Nikko Circuit. Looks like it may be a wet competition by the looks of the weather, but you never know. The weather tends to change quite quickly up around Nikko Circuit. So hopefully, I mean, I'm pretty confident in the wet. Like I get so much wet practice at Ebisu, it's like second nature to me now. But Nikko is very, very hard in the wet because if your tires hit that dipper the slightest bit, you're gone. That you can't save the car. It's impossible. So if you dip, which is very high because of obviously the wet weather and how slippery the entry will be, the car's spinning no matter what. So you just got to be really, really cautious and just take it slow. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you're excited for the future. If you're not following me on Twitch, I really recommend you do. I started doing a lot more IRL streams there. In fact, tonight, after I finish editing, I'm going to an izakaya with one of my friends, Manaki-san, who I'm driving with tomorrow, and we're going to talk to you guys and have a bunch of fun. So link to my Twitch is down in the description. We're about to get signed on as partner. It is going to be awesome. And with that, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Jamata.